Hello and welcome to the Age of Light interview series. It's an absolute privilege to welcome Henrik Clausen to our conversation today. Henrik has been working in the lighting industry for over 30 years, so he's seen all kinds of changes. But in 2004, he set up the Fagerhult Lighting Academy, and in fact is also now director of research. So I've seen him speak on all kinds of platforms online in many different places, so it's just a privilege to be able to grill him in person. So Fagerhult is a major, I guess, a pioneer and leading light in the human-centered lighting design field. They were very early in realizing the potential of this technology to change our world for good. And so Henrik has got some really interesting things to say about light and well-being, particularly to do with kids. You've done some lovely work in schools, for example, thinking about new ways that you can use lighting technology to support learning, to support a kind of a better environment for all of that. So perhaps just begin by telling us what you think the latest, coolest things are and how you're working towards supporting our kids better.
I would love to do that. Thank you very much for having me, Shelley. It's a pleasure to be on your show here. And I've been looking forward to meeting you via this screen. Now we are meeting everywhere in the electronic media and not in person anymore, or for the time being. And it's a challenge also in schools that in Denmark, where I originally came from, a lot of school was closing down, and suddenly you started to understand the value of being together. And by being absent from teachers, the pupils, their pals, they suddenly felt that they needed each other again. And on my personal record, I love to do lighting for people. And I wrote a book a while ago called Light and Communication, because light is a carrier of visual communication. So when I look at somebody and I try to be empathic, I could be a teacher, I could be a student posing a question. You look at people to see if they are serious, if they're joking, if they are depressed, if they're happy. And light is that carrier. Imagine that you were sitting in a classroom in complete darkness. So whenever you increase the quality of light by removing glare or flicker, all that stuff, so that you actually get good light on my face, it reflects, goes back to the pupil's eyes, and we can have a good dialogue. And that's what I strive to do when we do lighting in classrooms. But classrooms are changing. It's more like being a collective experience. People are moving around, so it's not like a row of benches anymore where some teacher is just standing there like lecturing, and the pupils are raising their hands and asking. So we have to follow on that trend. So I try to stick together with people who come up with new ways of teaching and new approaches, and always ask them, what is it that you want to achieve? What feeling do you want in your classroom? What kind of moods? And would you have lighting that encourage people to talk, or encourage people to speak loud or soft, or be honest, or be more distant? So when we give all these tools to teachers, they are very good at saying, wow, can we do that? I would love to have that in that way. So it's a privilege working with schools and kids. A very long talk here.
So how, for example, what are the latest things that teachers are telling you? I saw some work that you did via a Thinkific course via LinkedIn. So tell us what the latest is if we were going to school.
I think the latest is probably that there are lots of, we are doing this inclusion project where a lot of kids, when I went to school, came in special classes. Now you will have everybody in there, so you include children with HD diagnosis and whatever goes on. So sometimes there's a lot going on and they are having trouble being quiet. So if we could do some lighting that would sort of control the noise level. We did a research project on that where we monitored the teachers, where we monitored noise level and correlated it with different light settings, so that you could see if you had like this very powerful diffuse lighting, which has no shadows, looks more like a rainy day, then people turn up the volume a little bit. But if you have these cave lighting where you have a pendant fixture, a small island of light, and you move in close together, you are more intimate, and the children lowered their voices and they didn't move that much around. So by having the teacher to maybe briefing the class in bright light, diffused light, and then asking them to work in groups by having small pendants, islands of light, getting people closer together, being more open, maybe being more honest, working together in a lower voice. And then in this research project, we had monitors detecting their movement, and we had monitors detecting the noise level, and we could differentiate in the research whether it was the boys, the girls, or the teacher speaking. So it was just not a noise, it was actually a bit more intelligent, so you could actually see how the noise level changed, and then you could adjust the lighting according to that. It was very, very interesting to be a part of.
Yeah, so tell me more about the difference between the girls and the boys and the teachers then.
Now we actually, it's not published yet.
Okay.
We have spoken to the researcher, and she has written an article for us in our own magazine, which is called Innovator, and that's the best description there is right now. But she's still messing with the statistics to make it valid and sort of so I can't really share that with you. But it's just, we know it influences, and I guess we all know it more or less instinctively that if we have a friend over and we want to talk about something emotional, we choose maybe a little more dimmed setting, no glaring light, an incandescent lamp if they are available, or at least a warm color temperature, so that you actually have this dialogue light. And I think we all know it. It's very depending on cultures, but in the Scandinavian countries, in the UK as well, and up in the northern parts of Europe, it's pretty much alike. When you go further south, it's different.
So tell me what happens further south.
Well, further south, they prefer a more cool light, and it's higher lighting levels. It's more bright. They are not annoyed by glare in the same way as we are. If you go to Greece, Mediterranean, Northern Africa, Spain, it's more like a powerful light source, and they're more trying to recreate the day. And we think it's because we are twilight people up here, and we like this blue hour. It's romantic, it's poetic. It's a lot about talking about this, that we appreciate the morning coming because we have these long winter nights, and we appreciate the evening when we are winding down, and we want to prolong that. So we do that with lower lighting level, more warmer color temperatures, sort of like the color of the setting sun and so on. So it's a bit of trying to prolong that feeling before the night sets in.
And it's true that when you go to an Indian restaurant, for example, I mean, the westernized ones, it's different, but actually if you travel to India, even their most sort of posh restaurants, they tend to be the most delicious ones that they go to themselves. They tend to be the ones with bright strip lights, and you're going, this doesn't look like an expensive restaurant to me. And just the lighting signals are very different, and that's really interesting what you were saying about the difference in the sort of atmosphere that they're trying to create.
It is strange, but we think, and this is not to me proven by any research, but we actually think that we are taking our light with us. So if you should move to India, you would probably take some local light from your place in the world there. And when you drive through a suburb outside Copenhagen or Stockholm, you can easily spot in what flats people from different countries are living, because the light is different. And it seems that you have that urge to take your lighting with you. And I had a friend working for Ericsson Telecom in New Delhi that I visited. And when we approached his house, he just had warm lights, garden lights, and he had pendants. And you know, it was like coming into a Scandinavian home in India. Everything else around was bright white, as you say. So it's not just the people moving to our parts of the country. It seems that it's multicultural, that we take the lighting that we love with us. It means a lot to us, clearly. And that's also why we sometimes say that you can't do a fixture or a lighting installation for everybody in the world. We have to adapt to, you can have some ideas what you want to achieve, but if you say, I want a cozy lighting in my restaurant, well, in India it's different than having a cozy light in London.
That's really interesting. And I guess I've become aware, as I've got more interested in the whole lighting field, that there is much more flexibility than we think. But I sometimes work as an electrician with a company, and they just stick downlighters in the ceiling.
Yes, yeah.
With integrated light bulbs, I mean, integrated LED chips, and there's no scope for that personalization. And it sounds as though we can and should be much more demanding and creative about the atmospheres that we create in our homes and in our workplaces and schools as well.
I think it's because of this paradigm shift. When we switched to LED, we actually got a lot of options, and we had expected that people would be way more creative, but what we really are doing we are replacing incandescent lamps or fluorescent tubes with LED. We don't take the advantage that we have because it's so few people who are innovative designers who actually think, oh, I could make a triangular light or a whatever curved light or all kind of stuff. It looks very much the same as it did. We've had LEDs now, good quality LEDs for at least 10 years, but the products still looks the same. It's just doing it more energy efficient, a little bit better color rendering quality and stuff like that. But we haven't seen these big breakthroughs that people actually grab it and make a paradigm shift so we can do something. And we try to encourage it, but they're always first movers, you know, but the next ones that are, it takes a while before everybody does it. And I guess you and I were grown up by our mothers and fathers. So you don't play with the light, leave it on. You don't play with the light switch. And but we are encouraging people to play with the light, the direction, the colors, play with everything. And it's probably a new generation that needs to be born to do that.
Or offer the opportunity, because I mean, what I'm seeing is that the bog standard light fitting actually has even less LED light fitting, because it's got the built-in chip, has even less flexibility than you had with an incandescent, where at least you could change the bulb or kind of put a reflector or a spot in.
That's right.
And the ones that I'm seeing go in as ceiling lights, they've got the built-in chip. There's nothing you can do, and they're on it feels complicated to change it because the driver's different. And so I think that we've in a way gone backwards from a sense of agency and flexibility than perhaps we had with the old-fashioned.
At least the first couple of generations. Now we are much more in recycling and circular economy and sustainability and all that, where you need to be able to put it apart and recycle it. So you will probably be able to switch components now in the generation of fixtures you would buy now. But it definitely wasn't that. It was like, whoa, we have a light source that'll last forever, 100,000 hours. That's maybe 30 years. So it's just install and forget. No maintenance, but they need to be dusted. They need to be cleaned. They need to be looked after. So it's not as easy as we branded it, like, come on, install and forget was sort of a slogan. But no, you never have to forget. You must always evaluate. If we made this for an accounting office and now an undertaker or a lawyer is coming in, we need different light moods there. We cannot just, but lighting has been so much about levels, 500 lux for everybody. And it doesn't matter what you do, if you're a florist who makes beautiful flower decorations, or if you're an undertaker, it's just a lighting level. And we can do so much more now. So that's what we're striving for.
I completely agree. And it's interesting what you're saying about how we kind of born with a particular lighting atmosphere, and we want to take that with us. And I'm wondering what you would say to parents of children who are creating an atmosphere at home.
Well, the biggest thing I always say to parents, I speak a lot at schools and I've spoken to parents there as well, is it's very, very important that you sleep in absolute darkness. And we used to do that ever since our evolution 7 million years ago. And in the night, it was pitch black, and we slept maybe alongside the fireplace, which was extremely red, 1700 Kelvin, very warm light. But just these small thing that you put into an outlet that lights up a children's room is enough to disturb the biological rhythm for children. They're very sensitive to light, especially at 5 o'clock in the morning, the peak sensitivity, and just a little light in there disturbs the rhythm. But we have somehow come to think as darkness as evil and light as good. So whenever we have light, we feel, this is happy, this is festive. But in the night, we actually need darkness. We need high lighting levels during the daytime and absolute darkness during nighttime. And that's hard because they say, but my child doesn't want to go to bed if it's dark. They are afraid of the dark. They see monsters in the dark. Somehow we have to say, but at least you must go in there and switch the light off once they fall asleep and so on. But you know, it's the same with elderly persons. If they had a fall accident in their home, they leave the light on. So when they are going from their bedroom to the bathroom in the middle of the night, they can see obstacles, but they don't get the same quality sleep at night when you're exposed to light. Because light is the indicator for our hormone systems that it's time to wake up. So you're constantly lying there trying to wake up. Maybe you'll be exhausted for many other reasons, but the body tells you, oh, it's coming light. Wake up, wake up, wake up.
Yeah. It's interesting to have a lighting manufacturer encourage people to switch all the lights off. So that's,
well, we encourage them to use really good lighting when they have it, when they switch it on. Now I think it's it's about people. Lighting is always about people. I try to say that when I give lectures, that we do lighting for people, not so much facade lighting or street lighting. It's lighting for the people who look at the facade and walk on the streets. It's you have to keep that in mind, and we need light and darkness.
So a lot of the people listening are going to be wondering how they can do this kind of creative thing in their homes, and I know that you work on big schemes, and obviously that's a powerful thing. But what can we do in our homes using the things that you've learned?
The latest research point out that we need a powerful boost of lighting in the morning to synchronize our body rhythms. So when you wake up, you need to have a light shower. The best thing you can do is sit close to a window, take a walk, 45 minutes minimum, preferably 2 hours exposure, something in between, let's say 1 and 2 hours, depending also on your age. If you're younger, you need shorter exposure to get the same amount of light in. If you're older, you need a longer exposure. And do you have that, then you have synchronized your body clock and you have lifted your cortisol level, so you are ready to seize the day. And that's really important. If you come up there, and it might be cozy with just having a candle lit, but it doesn't trigger the balance. So if you want to do some morning yoga or something, then do it in brightly lit area. That would really do the trick.
So if we were sitting here in 5 or 10, let's say 15 years time, what would you be talking about? What would you be telling us?
I would probably be telling you about this personal lighting profile, which is my passion. And I think we have the technology, but we don't have the knowledge. We are digging there. We are talking to everybody, like I talk to you now about it. But having your personal lighting profile that sort of records how much have you been outdoor, how good was your sleep, what is your maybe your temperature is not the best thing, but a lot of personal parameters. How is your eyesight? Is it decreased? Did you have cataract, or are you wearing glasses? And a lot of that, you could put that into any portable device or a smartwatch or whatever. And then you Bluetooth or connect with the fixture above you, so it gives you the light that you need in that situation. It takes into account the daylight outside that comes through the window, your lighting history, both short term, what you experience today, but also how you have lived your entire life. Are you an outdoor person hiking every weekend, or are you an indoor person doing your stamps every evening in the basement? So it's a lot about how your relation to light actually is. And I think if people want to do that, they can put that in the future, somehow into an intelligent device. And that device can send a signal to the fixture above you that you need that kind of color temperature in that amount right now. But we're not really there yet, but it would be great. That's my dream. And hopefully I will experience it before I retire one day. So personal lighting profiles that follows you and does the best for you.
Fitbit. Like a lighting Fitbit. So you've had my candelas or my lux or whatever it is for the day, and
exactly. Yeah. And it's about understanding that we experience the world in a vertical plane. When we talk about lighting, we talk very often the horizontal plane. We need 500 lux to read a book, but we need the brightness around us to experience the space, and that's what triggers our biological response. So light on the walls, close to the windows, walking outside. Outside is by far the best thing you can do.
Okay, well, thank you very much indeed. So we should look forward to. I'm looking forward to having that, although with the usual sort of caveats about privacy and all of that.
Yeah, that's a challenge.
Yeah, I'm aware that I carry my candles with me where I go. So that's another interesting point to take away. So thank you so much for your time, Henrik. That was really fascinating.
You're more than welcome, Shelley. Thanks. Nice speaking to you.
Bye now.
Bye.